Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. My guest today has done it all. She is a two-time NFL cheerleader and United States Air Force veteran turned entrepreneur. Her clothing brand, Torch Warrior, was just featured on ABC's Shark Tank and aims to be the go-to brand for military women around the world. Her new book, Light the Torch, is now available on Amazon. Seriously, guys, what can't she do? We go through so much in this podcast episode, and you're going to learn so many great things from her. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Haley McClain Hill to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Hey, hello, Haley. Thank you for being on the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast.
Jasmine, how are you? It's so great to be on here and to reconnect with you.
Yes, it's so good to see you. So, we're going to dive right in, and I want you to tell us a little bit about your background. A lot of the things that you've done have been super impressive, and I really want to know where that came from. Like, what was your childhood like and your upbringing? Because that's the foundation of what molds people and makes them who they are. So, and what they had the potential to be. I heard that you wanted to be a veterinarian at one point, but it was turned away from that because you had your cat spayed, I think.
Yeah.
And like, what else? What else were you doing in your childhood, and what did you want to be?
Yeah, so I guess we can start all the way back. I always started off with my grandmother. She served 20 years in the Air Force. And so just seeing just such a strong, super goal-oriented woman like succeed in that career field. I feel like that's always been ingrained in just the women in my family because she had my mom and my mom had me at 20. My grandma had my mom at 20 as well. So just a lot of young women who had babies. But my mom was in college and she had me and like had me on a Friday, went back to school on Monday. Like she just very, very driven women and who are just like just
Wow.
honestly, it's just very inspiring to me. So like I don't know if I could have done that, mom. Like I don't know.
That's crazy. Wow. More
But
power to her.
right? I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think growing up, and my mom, she worked for NASA for a little while too. And so just the very high achieving women, since I was a young age, it was just always a very high just a lot of focus on school and being very involved in a lot of different things. So when I was young, if I was even in kindergarten, it's like I was in all the dance classes and we started to, I did some language classes and just, I think my mom just really wanted me to fill my time with things that would develop me. And so I just kind of kept this habit going throughout my entire life. And if it wasn't cheer, it was dance, if it was gymnastics, it was learning an instrument, it was being part of student government, it was trying a different sport like track. It was just like you don't sit at home. Like that was kind of the mentality. It's like you preoccupy yourself and you stimulate your mind and you just grow as a woman and surround yourself with other people who are like-minded so that the whole concept of you're the surrounding of the five people around you. Like I just always was surrounded by other driven people and creative people. And so I think that's kind of where now I am who I am today. I'm very
Yeah, so
grateful for them.
yeah, that sounds like you have a great foundation of women to look up to and who you've seen done amazing things. And you mentioned dance, did you fall in love with dance at a young age?
Yeah. Oh man. I'm sure you feel the same way. Um, when did you start dancing?
When I was 3.
Three.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
same, same. I'm pretty sure my grandma says I came out the womb, legs open in a split. She's like, we knew you were gonna be something because
Oh my gosh, I love that. Like, let me
yeah,
see the picture, the before and after.
right. Exactly. I know. Oh gosh. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I was doing dance in kindergarten, preschool, and I I would say I did every style, it was like little ballet here, little tap, jazz, hip hop, all of the different things. And in high school, ended up switching to cheer because there weren't as many dance opportunities in Pennsylvania. It
Mm.
was either like you're gonna move to Jersey or New York to like become a professional dancer, or you're just gonna be at this like, you know how it is when you're like not
Yeah.
in an area that's not like super dance focused. So cheer was big in Pennsylvania, so I switched to that because I kind of had a background in gymnastics as well, and kind of became like the center dancer in the cheer. It was like I don't really know how to do cheer stuff, but you can learn. But you know that I was in the front doing the dance.
Yes. Wow, you kind of like just threw yourself into that. I love that.
Yes, yes. And it was incredible. I mean, I got to go to Penn State. I cheered at Penn State, and that's where I was recruited to cheer actually for the Dolphins, but then ended
Mm.
up not being able to cheer with the Dolphins because I joined the Air Force, and the Air Force had me stationed in Atlanta, and then that's why I ended up cheering with the Falcons instead of the Dolphins. So, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So you said you got recruited. I never have heard about that before. How did that happen? Like, who
Yeah.
came? Did the Dolphins coaches come?
So it's super cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, the Dolphins do, well, not the coaches, but the Dolphins do this like, if you're an alumni of the Dolphins cheer team, they have like this recruiting program or something. And I don't know if it's still around, but when I was in
Mhm.
school, I got recruited probably in 2016 or 2017 at it was a basketball tournament. It was like a Big Ten basketball tournament in Chicago. And they just had girls in the stands with their recruiting team, and they came up to my coach and was like, we're part of the Dolphins cheer team, we're alumni, and we're always looking for cheerleaders to come and do a class with us or a workshop and potentially try out. And we just saw her and we'd love to give her a little card. And like it was so cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I never even thought about NFL cheer or anything pro before that. And I was like a
Yeah.
junior in college. So like never thought about pro until that happened. And then after I got that little card, I like flew down to Miami for a weekend and did a workshop with them and fell in love. And I was like, well, if I get stationed here, I will cheer here. But I ended up being in Atlanta. So, but they're
Yeah.
so cool. Just a great
That's
organization. The
so
Dolphins are
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I love their organization, their style. It's really cool. So
Yeah.
with the recruiting, you still had to try out though. Like you weren't guaranteed a spot on the team.
Exactly. I
Okay.
think you got to bypass first round or something
Oh,
like,
that's so cool.
yeah, which is so, I was like, dang, like that's way better than anything. But
Mm.
yeah, no, not you had to still try out.
Yeah, I've never heard about that before, but I feel like most teams should do that.
I agree. I agree. I've never heard of any other team that does it, actually, other than
Yeah.
like college. Like college does that, but like not as much NFL. So
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. I'm gonna have
yeah.
to look into that one.
Yes, I know. I know. It's
So,
unique.
so one of the things that you have been on, or one of the shows that you've been on, is Shark Tank, taking a little twist and turn here. And you've spoken at a number of events and been in front of plenty of audiences. One of the things that people come to me on is public speaking and interview prep, and I don't know how to be good in an interview. But you seem like you've had a lot of experience doing that. Being in front of judges on Shark Tank seems very intimidating. And public speaking in general gives people the heebie-jeebies for some reason, and I get it, you know? But
Yep.
what tips would you say, what tips would you give the audience who have nerves about delivering a message and being the most confident, when they're in an environment like that?
Yeah, I mean, it really, I think speaking to the girls who are going to try out for a team, it really does come down to if you don't have someone practicing with you, like it's really a practiced thing. I
Mhm.
have trained no, I think just one girl, but I've helped a lot of girls with just like we're going to sit either on Zoom or in front of each other, and I'm going to just pick out the parts where I'm like, that was a little weird, that was a little awkward. Like I give them sample questions. And you just need to have someone to do that for you. That's just the bottom line. It's great to go to a NFL prep class. I know a lot of these NFL prep um, companies, they do have interview prep in them now, and which is awesome. So like it's just all about your body language. It's all about how the speed, your posture. it's really, and even for me when I went on Shark Tank, like I hired a Shark Tank coach who
Hmm.
like trained me for months before on how to answer questions because you can do your pitch and you can, like the girls who are listening now, like you can dance, but when people want to ask you questions, they want to see the real you. They want to see your personality. They don't want to see a robot. And it's not that you're practicing to like be perfect, you're just practicing to be more natural and to
Yeah.
know like
Mm.
this is kind of how I would tackle this question. So, for example, if someone asks you, what is your strength? Um, you know, it's good to, what is your biggest strength or what would you bring to this team? It's really important to be clear and concise. Like instead of, being like long, drawing it out, like we don't need all of that. It's very much of like clear and concise. My biggest strength is, or I could really be a leader on this team because of my military background. I had, and then maybe just like a little bit of extra fluff in there, but like keeping it clear and
Mhm.
concise. But that's half the part of answering a question or in like public speaking or interviewing. The other half is genuinely how you show up. What are you wearing? What is your posture looking like? Are you giving eye contact? Are you smiling? Even the tone inflection of your voice can hint
Mhm.
a lot of things to people who are interviewing you. So if you're talking like this and you always have this high inflection and you're going like this all the time, that actually signifies like you're not very confident within yourself. But if you go with more of a downward inflection, something like, yep, my name is Haley. My name is Haley, and I am the CEO and founder of Torch Warrior Wear. Like that's the difference from me saying my name is Haley and I'm the CEO and founder of Torch Warrior Wear. Like there's a difference there.
Yeah.
So I can send you guys suggestions and like podcasts to listen to about like
Mhm.
those little things that set you apart, but there's two parts to public speaking. It's like what you really look like, and then it's how you answer the question as well. I know that was
No,
a long drawn answer, but
that is so good. I had never heard about it in those two separate, like, spaces. Like, you have to figure out how you appear and then you have to be concise in your answers. But it's hard. It's so hard for dancers to do that because I mean, dancers, they don't want to talk, they want to dance. But as being a pro cheerleader, that's part of the job, being a brand ambassador. And I've also heard that the inflection in your voice is really important because I think I was listening to a podcast about someone who like studies body language, and she said that an inflection in your voice, like if you go up in that inflection, it kind of signifies that you're lying.
yep,
And
exactly.
it's not, it doesn't make you sound competent. So there's
Correct.
also that balance of like warmth and competence too.
Yes.
So
Were you listening? Is this the Diary of a CEO podcast?
I did listen to that pod. I think her name is Vanessa something.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes, yes, yes,
But
yes.
yeah, I listened to that podcast. Yeah.
So
It's so good.
powerful.
I'm gonna put that in the show notes actually.
Please, yes, y'all
For
need to
people.
watch that. It is so good. It's like manipulation, honestly.
It is. And she goes not even she goes through like the body language, like the tilt of your head, how that signifies warmth. I'm just like, I never thought about all this stuff, but it's important for people to, you know, for you to come across as warm and competent. And you have to have both of those. So,
Exactly. You're so dead on, Jasmine.
yeah.
Like, and I think one thing I would share if I could go back in time is when I started my dance career. I mean, and everybody wants to be a triple threat or whatever, dance, act, sing, but like genuinely, if you can dance and you learn so much about your body and how you perform and all that, but if you can learn how to speak as well and you can start really honing in that skill, when you're young, that just takes you to the next level because everyone listening here is beautiful. Everyone listening here knows how to stand and perform in front of a crowd. Now, if you know how to use your voice, like it's
Mhm.
just so powerful. Your voice, also writing, I always encourage girls to write, maybe write a book like about your experience. Like creating is so much more than just dance but dance gives you this great foundation to create in all these beautiful other ways, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I love that.
Yeah.
Creating, just doing everything you can to create.
Yes.
Um, so you did mention that you're the CEO and founder of Torch Warrior Wear. So tell us about your brand and like what is it first and why did you start it?
Yeah. It really started from my discomfort of wearing my military uniform. Do you know anybody in the military, Jasmine?
Couple people, not people that are close to me though.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any women?
I know some women that were in the military, yes.
Okay, very cool. Well, you have to ask them how they felt about their uniform because most of the time it's very uncomfortable because it's made for men, but they just have like a unisex option or, extra small men's top will wear those. So the whole premise of it is like I was living this double life of an NFL cheerleader and then being in the military. And as you know, our uniforms in the NFL world are so cute, so tight, snatched. We look fabulous, like women, feminine, all of that. And then in the military world, it's the complete opposite. And I'm like, dang, like I feel so much more confident in my NFL cheerleading uniform because it's made for me. But there's nothing made specifically for women in the military by a woman. Because
Mm-hmm.
some guys they'll try, but it's like, no, you don't know unless you're a woman. You don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just kind of one day was wearing a bodysuit and sweatpants at home. And I was just like, dang, like I wish I could wear something like this in my uniform. And I just thought of the idea of making it the right color, the right cut, and went down to LA, found a fabric company, a manufacturer. They all know each other. So it's like once you kind of go find one person, they'll connect you with who you need to like make an actual product.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on TikTok and then it just kind of blew up. And now it's
Oh.
the first clothing brand dedicated specifically for military women and we're all over the world. And woo, it's so fun. I like to say also we're like the vibe is like Skims of the military. That's the vibe.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. And I
Yeah.
have been on your website. I've looked at the bodysuit and I think you have a couple of the merch items. So
Yep.
is the bodysuit like the main thing that you started with? That's
That's our
awesome.
hero product. Yes. We'll probably stick in that direction. We'll lean into maybe like a dry fit or a thermal or a fire resistant bodysuit. We'll lean into the bodysuit style, but maybe we'll look into down the road like boots or accessories, but anything that they can wear in their uniform, that's what we're going to focus on.
Yeah, that's amazing. And congratulations on all of the success with Torch Warrior Wear. And you said it's over across the world. Like, do you like ship all across the world? Do you have places like yeah, I think you said your warehouse is in
In LA.
LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we distribute all over the world, from Germany to Australia to Canada, to the Netherlands. We're everywhere. So it's just we have a distribution 3PL that ships everything out for me in LA, and
Mhm.
we just kind of rock and roll. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So cool. And this is what you went on Shark Tank with, right? And I just want to go back to that really quickly. And I know at the end of Shark Tank, for those who haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but you get a deal with Lori, right?
Yes.
Well, actually, I did spoil it, so there you go. So
It's
watch the whole thing.
yeah.
And which is amazing. As a, I'm sure that was probably really great for you as a woman. Um, so what can you just take us through like being on Shark Tank, what that day was like? And second part of that question is, do you still have that relationship with Lori? Like, are you able to call her up or text her, send her whatever? Yeah.
Yes. I love this question. Thank you. So, I was living in Southern California at the time with my now fiance, and we drove up to LA because that's where they film. We drove up the night before, got a hotel because we had a show time of 4 in the morning. I had to be in the lobby, you kind of like cheer, right? Game day when you have to be there super early.
Hmm.
And I just, like I said, I had been training for months before that. So it was just like game time. It's like my body was snatched. I was like, my hair and makeup girl was coming in the morning, 3 a.m., like to get me ready because I was not going to have some random TV people doing my hair and makeup while I was on TV. I was like, no.
I know that's right. Get your own person.
Girl, you know how it is. So I was like, so she's slick, she got me all ready, and it's just like straight up game time mode. Like it's really the vibe. It's just like hyping yourself up. It was just me on there. So it's like just running through my questions. And my coaches were awesome. They're just like, trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and just, go for it. You're ready. So we had, call time 4 in the morning. A couple of the other entrepreneurs were in the lobby, got to meet them. They're awesome. And we're all just kind of chatting on the way to the studio. And when you pull up to the studio, it's very typical, like what you'd see on TV, right? Like those big white buildings that have like TV shows on them. And like we pull up to the one that has like Shark Tank on it, and there's a couple trailers in the back. And I'm like, all right, like this is pretty cool. We got this, just staying calm. Um, and when you pull up, one of the producers comes and grabs you. They assigned who was going to go first and who was going to go last. And so I ended up going first, the first of the day, which I was
Okay.
happy because I'm like, let me just get this out of the way. Because as soon as
Yeah.
you got to go, you can leave and go home. I'm like, I just want to knock it out. And
Yeah.
so it's just like similar to cheer and similar to dance. They brought me out into the space because I was the first one to go, and they let me mark my thing. They were like, okay, this is where you're gonna be. This is where the sharks are gonna be. So I saw the chairs, I saw everything, and I was just kind of feeling like, okay, this is. I actually did a back walkover too, so I'd like practice that, and I'm like, this is the vibe. This is how it's gonna be. And they're like, okay, so just go back to your trailer. And I waited for probably like 30 minutes back there. I did a bunch of push-ups. I did a bunch of sit-ups. I was just trying to like get all the nerves out.
Wait, was the back walk over that was in like when you were waiting? That was
No,
before.
I did my back walk. I actually practiced like out there. I did my back walk over. And then when I actually pitched, I did a back walk over in my pitch. So
Oh, interesting.
yes, you have to watch the whole episode. It's in there.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, man, I pretty much was called like 30 minutes later, and they're like, all right, one and done. Like you're not allowed to redo it because that's good TV if you mess up, you know how that is. And
Hmm.
so I had a costume guy who's this fabulous man, and he's just like, you're gonna do so great. Like he's just, fluffing me up, making sure I'm all good, everything's perfect. And then they push me behind the scene. They're like, all right, camera's rolling in 10, 10, 9, 8. And so you start walking, and then the doors open. The sharks are all sitting there. They look really good in person too. They look really good. And it's just
Oh,
so, it's just so funny to see them in real life. But like,
yeah.
I think again, like being a cheerleader and also being in the military, like you kind of get used to performing in front of crowd. You know what mindset you have to put yourself into. Like you have to be like, okay, deep breath, and you go for it. Like you mess up a little bit, you keep going, you keep
Hmm.
going. And so I was out there, I waited. They make you wait. They make you wait for like a minute to get the camera set. So you're just smiling at them and like, hi, hello. And then they say go. And I just went for it. I did my pitch. This is a side note, but I actually did my entire pitch, which was cool. It was fine. It was great. Whatever. I did it. Um, but the producers told me I had to redo it, which is like, again, not allowed, but they told me I had to redo it because I was wearing the bodysuit and my nipples were showing.
Oh,
They were hard. I'm sorry. Hey, you can keep this in. It's fine. We're all girls here.
it's okay. We love the authenticity. Authentic.
Yes. Oh my
Authentic.
gosh, girl. They were like, you're like cold or whatever. You know what it is. And I just didn't have enough padding on because I had like a sports bra. And they're like, you have to go do that again. ABC doesn't accept the nipple thing. Like, you have to go back and pad up.
Wow.
So it was actually, I don't know if it was a good or bad thing. I ended up with a deal, which was great, but I
Mm.
actually had to go back, get padded, and then do my pitch again and then redo it all. And so it kind of frazzled me a little bit, but again, just like showbiz, you just keep it moving. So
At what point did they stop you? Was it after your pitch, before they started questions?
before they started questions, it was like I did
Okay.
my 2 minute pitch, and then I was about to answer questions, and they're like, you got to go back. And I was like, oh my gosh. So
Wow.
it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's okay.
At
And
least they heard, the first time. All right, like
I know, but still it's like the shock of it like was gone.
yeah.
And but it was interesting because then when I went back repitched, then they started the questions, and I was in there probably for an hour. They only show you on TV like 5 minutes, but
Hmm.
I was in there for an hour answering questions, and it's you just have to be prepared and you just kind of word vomit and you just, be yourself and tell your stories and be funny. And I made them laugh and I ended up getting the deal. So,
Yeah. Was
long
that
story.
deal? Yeah, no, I love that. I love all the details. It's really cool. And the stuff you don't hear about, I do hear that you're in there for an hour. I've heard that from other like people that have been on the show.
Yes.
But
And yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Lori does we do stay in contact. Yes, we do. It's
yeah,
just she's a celebrity and she's living her best life. Like we're not talking every single day, but her
right.
team is in contact with me and we do are on email and everything. And I'm actually drumming up my like dream list of things that I can ask, of her and her team and see kind of if we can meet somewhere halfway. And it's like a business relationship, a business investor
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Was that the deal that I'm trying to remember what the actual what you asked for and then what she gave you? Obviously, it's all about negotiation, but
Yes.
was looking back, like, were you happy with the deal? Would you do it over again? Like, what do looking back, what would you think about it?
I think that I went in asking for 150,000 for 10% equity, and we did the deal of 150,000 for 22.5% equity.
Mm,
Um, I would say that the experience and the marketing that went in for me being on TV and now being known as like a Shark Tank entrepreneur is
hmm.
invaluable. And I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for that experience. I think anyone going in, I would say know your worth. Like you don't have to do a deal, even if it feels like you're so excited and all of that. Like, but if they go in and it's a deal that's like ridiculous, like, and they're gonna try to push you to it. And I negotiated her down a little bit. Like she originally wanted 25 and like we got down to 22 and a half. Like you do have to negotiate, but if you know you have a brand and a community and you really believe in yourself and your ability to execute because a lot of the times these sharks, they don't have specific experience in your industry, but maybe in
Right.
like an adjacent industry. So just be very aware of your of what you bring to the table and know these people are awesome, but you're awesome too. And so
Yeah.
don't just be quick to make a deal just because, but like, really think about it and know your worth.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And then I know Emma Greed was on your episode, right? I love her.
I know. Fabulous and even more
So great.
fabulous in person. Like she is
Yeah. Oh, that's so
gorgeous.
cool.
Yes, I know. I was really rooting for her. But hey, everything happens for a reason, and Skims is amazing. Still a brand, like I said, that I look up to, and maybe down the line we can still collab. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. For those
Yeah.
who are listening, Emma Grede is the CEO of, is it like
Skims,
Skims and
Good
Good
American.
American? Yeah.
And now this new one, have you seen this new one?
Is it off season?
Off season?
Yes. I wish they had Panthers gear. Maybe they will once the Panthers start doing better. So, but the
I'm
stuff is really good.
Are
It's
you kidding
so
me?
cute.
It's so
Yeah.
cute. The girl she collaborated with for the brand is a wag from the Niners.
Yes, I think
Yes.
didn't she do Taylor Swift's a jacket that went viral when
Yep.
she wore to Chiefs game? Yeah. I think her
Yep.
name's
Yep.
Kristen. Yeah.
Kristen, the last name
I
always
can't.
escapes me. It's Juzwick?
It's
Juszczyk. Juszczyk.
Juszczyk. Yeah, it's hard to say for me at least. But yeah,
It,
that's
but
shout
she's
out to her.
phenomenal. She's a
Hmm.
genius. She's a marketing genius. She knows what she's doing. All of her stuff is amazing. And I just was like in awe of her when I saw her and just it's really cool to see women doing awesome things like that. I'm like,
Oh
damn.
yeah, for sure. Especially in the sports space where, we come from and we're aspiring to get to. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
now you have so many accomplishments and it's
Thank
really very like really impressive. Can you
you.
before this call you said you had another call, but I want you to walk us through a day in the life of Haley McClain Hill, like entrepreneur, author, speaker, podcast host, mentor. And I think you do some things in the pro cheer world too. So yeah,
Thank
like what does a day look like?
Every day is different. I mean, that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur and someone who's a creative, who lives in the creative space. Um, Today, for example, I got up 6 a.m. Pilates class. Boop, boop. That's my first time I've done that ever. So let's not like act
Yes,
like
let's make it a habit. We love this.
I was really trying. And so that's cool. I do try to always like work out in the morning. I'll do a mile run. I live in Santa Cruz, California, so it's by the beach, and I'll just try to really get my fresh air. I love the beach. So I just try to be in nature as much as I can in the morning. I will hit a sauna as well, just to kind of like flush out all the toxins and start the day. And then I'll just start with my meetings. I have decided that Wednesdays, because today's Wednesday, are my call days. Like whenever I'm calling with new clients or new customers or new opportunities, I try to keep all of those calls on Wednesdays. So then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday are like open space for me to work on my business, whether that is developing, our marketing strategy or doing some taskers that my financial team needs from me. Like I keep those days very open because sometimes when you have calls, it kind of interrupts you. So that's been a huge saving grace for me with my productivity. So yeah, I would say I work pretty much all day like that. Either I go to the library or I'll go to another workspace or I'll work from home. Um, and then I'll come home and eat dinner with my fiance and hang out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and congratulations on your
thank
engagement. It's awesome. We love
you.
this.
Thank you. He's
Um,
he's awesome.
that's really cool to hear that every day is different. And I know a lot of people that can't really schedule or like own their schedule as much as that as you do
Yeah.
with, having the calls all on one day. Like I wish I could do that. Just have calls on one day because like you said, it does interrupt your day and it takes a lot away from like actually getting the work done. So I would say if anybody could do that or like at least have theme days, that's that's really important for productivity. And I
Yes.
love that you do that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um,
Yes. Hey, encouraging everybody to try. Ask your boss. Hey, maybe you can ask your boss. Hey,
mhm.
I'm the most productive when I do this. You never know. Gotta ask.
Yeah. I have meetings all day, every day almost, it seems like. So maybe I should ask my boss.
Do it.
So I do want to get into your military background, and you were in the military before you even went pro, right?
Actually, I did
No.
it at the same time.
The same time. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So I, for one, do not understand the entity that is the military. For some reason, it just confuses me and you might call me ignorant. I would like to understand. I'm sure there's people listening that would want to understand, the military. So I know enough to like know about some of the sectors and just being like on the front line, but there's so many behind the scenes things that people don't really know about, and it's not like you're always on the front line fighting. Um,
Right.
and I did see on your LinkedIn that you were a fitness coach in the military. So was that your main role in military? And can you tell us like what that looked like?
Yeah. So I'll break it down pretty easily for you. It's so easy. You'll catch it in a second. So you're gonna have the branches. So when you think of someone saying, I'm in the Army, I'm in the Air Force, I'm in the Navy, those are the big level branches. There's 6 of them: Air Force, Army, Space Force, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines. Yep, so there's 6 of them. And you can choose which branch you want to go into. Then in each branch, there's 2 almost like levels. You can go in as an officer, which is more of like a manager role.
Mhm.
You have to have your college degree to be an officer, or you can go in enlisted, which is just like right out of high school, or people who just, you know, maybe they are just trying to switch their careers and they want to do something, but they might not have a degree. You can go enlisted. So those are kind of the 2 paths. I did the officer track. I went to Penn State and I was in an officer training program because you have to go through an officer training program. You have to have your degree. And one of the ways you can go in one of the officer training programs is ROTC. Have you heard of ROTC?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes. So ROTC did that in college. And then when you graduate, you go into active duty. So active duty is like a full-time job, pretty much. Like that's your full-time job. There's other
Mm.
components of the military. So there's active duty, reserve, or guard. There's the reserve, which is like a part-time job. So you would have another civilian like job. You could be like, I don't know, an engineer, but then you have some time when you go into the military and that's like part-time, or guard, which is like you only stay in your state. So yeah, so basically I went active duty, so it was like my full-time job. My job when I was active duty was being a recruiter for the Air Force. So I got to speak. That's kind of how I know all the ins and outs and stuff. But
Mhm.
I spoke to schools and I put on assemblies and I went to fairs and I went to conferences and I talked to kids about joining the Air Force.
Mm.
And so I did that for a year, and then they moved me, and that's when I was in Atlanta. So I did that. And then they moved me to California, where I was, it's a little more ambiguous, but I was pretty much like an executive assistant to a commander who
Mm.
worked on the planes. And because I was an officer, I was in charge of like 300 people, and it was a little more like HR related. And then they switched me to the fitness center, which is just another umbrella career that you can have it's all about supporting the troops. Like that's kind of what my job was. Anything supporting the troops, whether that was daycare, the fitness center, the food on base, like that's a career field that like that's what you focus on. So it's a little confusing. I hope I broke that down a little bit easily for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are kind of my two things. And I was in for 4 years. That was my commitment because they paid for college for me and I had to owe them back 4 years. And then I was able to get out after that. But because my schedules were so flexible, recruiting, the school day is only 8 to 4, and then we'd have practice from 6 to 8, so like it never
Okay.
conflicted, and then there's no school on the weekends, so like never conflicted with that. And then for Niners, we only practice on Saturdays, and my job was only Monday through Friday, and then we had game Sunday, so like it never conflicted. So
Wow.
that's why I did it both at the same time, and I'm very grateful for that. But a lot of people can't do both. But there's a couple
Mhm.
girls currently who are in the military and who are cheering in the NFL, and I know both of them. They're awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know. Like, first of all, thank you for breaking that down. That gives me a better understanding of the
Yeah,
military. So I really appreciate that. But that
yes,
is that experience that you had doing both, it seemed like it just like all everything like kind of fell into place with
it
just
did. Yes.
school and working outside, or getting a job outside of school and then also doing, the pro dance part-time.
Yep. Hmm.
And if you're listening to this, if somebody doesn't know what career to get into, maybe you're in high school or college, maybe consider the military because it seems like it's pretty flexible. Now, one
It
question I
depends. Yes.
okay.
Sorry, I will
No,
say,
go
like,
ahead.
it does depend on the careers you choose in the military, and
Mm,
each branch is very different as well.
yeah.
Air Force is known to be more corporate-y feeling, but like if
Yeah.
you go into the Navy, you might be on a boat for 6 months. So it's like
Mhm.
you're not going to be able to cheer. Um, but I've heard, the Coast Guard is pretty flexible. If anybody has any questions about the military, please reach out to me. I'd love to give you more information, but it is an
Yeah.
incredible career, and it gives you incredible benefits. And
Yeah.
you don't have to you're not just fighting the whole time. There are awesome career. You can do public affairs, you can do, recruiting. You can do so many unique jobs in the military. So it's definitely something to explore.
Yeah, which I didn't know all of that existed. It's such a huge entity, and I feel a lot of people don't really think about like everything that needs to go into it. So
Exactly.
when you were working, did you have like an office that you went into? I know you said you spoke to schools, but you said you worked on base?
I,
Okay.
I did when I lived in California or in Northern
Okay.
California, I had a base that I went into every day. But in Atlanta, I was traveling so much and the base was so far away. They had me in a remote location, and my office was actually at Georgia Tech. So I would just have that as my central location, but I barely went into the office because I was always traveling around Georgia talking to
Yeah.
schools and to Alabama, and so they just knew that was my job, which was so much fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so cool. So obviously being in the military kind of inspired your, inspired torch, right? Um, and and the clothes not really working and fitting on you and them hanging off. But um, what would you say in terms of like body image did you learn while you were cheerleading? Like being in the pro cheer world, a lot of things we go through, or maybe back before now, what they have now. There's sometimes teams have weigh-ins, sometimes like especially during audition season, a lot of women look at their bodies and they start comparing themselves to each other. But just in terms of body image, like what would you have to, what advice would you give there?
Yeah, I was grateful to have, two teams that did not put focus on that and did not have
Hmm.
weigh-ins. And my coaches, Coach Chateau, Jaquine, Christy, um, all about positive, healthy bodies. And if you had the energy to dance, like they wanted you to be an athlete. Like that's the
Hmm.
bottom line. So women hearing this now who have questions about that, I think the best thing to do is just be the healthiest that you possibly can because you are an athlete and you are standing for 6 hours and you are dancing and you are going to have 6 hour 3 hour practices and you are going to be running routines, and so it's more about building strength, I would say, and just having that stamina as a dancer that you want to focus on. um, After moving out here to California, and that this is another thing I think a lot of people, like we talked about with your background and like your foundation. I grew up in Pennsylvania and it wasn't, I ate pretty healthy, I would say, but moving out here to California is like totally different mindset a lot of times on, health and wellness, which is amazing. I highly recommend people coming out here and checking this out. Um, but I mean, it's like I learned a lot about eating more protein and eating more greens and going into the sauna and trying to mitigate blue light and with your phone and all that stuff. Like there's other things that like what you're putting in your body is so important. How you're fueling your body. Even choosing healthier snack options. Like I have my little cookie here, but this is like gluten-free cookie. Like just like little stuff like that. And it's not even about being skinnier, it's just about feeling better and having the energy and the positive, just like feeling more positive whenever you walk into a room. And I think that's really the bottom line, being confident with your body and knowing that it's strong and it has the ability to get you through this like very grueling training, which it is.
Yeah. And being in the military or just military in general, I know you were in like two different areas, but just in general in the military, is body image is that a issue for women, or like is it that big of a thing as it is in the pro cheer world or in your experience?
Well, we have standards. Like
Mhm.
we actually have height and weight in the military, which is funny.
Oh,
They check if you're a certain height and you're a certain weight and you're not in certain parameters, you can be labeled as out of shape. So there are some women who might be like super strong that might not fall into the category, or who are shorter and have bigger boobs, and like they're not they're not out of shape, but they just are womanly shaped. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So there's I think at the end of the day, they just want it's more about again, the strength and the ability to perform and do your job. We have yearly physical fitness tests, so you have to do a certain amount of push-ups in a minute, sit-ups in a minute, run a mile in a certain time. And so like you are constantly having to just again make sure you're in the right shape. And so I think it goes hand in hand because it almost required me to be in great shape for both of them. And I was like,
Yeah.
so I think a lot of women actually, from my experience, it's a positive thing to have that standard, to require you to stay in shape because you have to get in the gym and you have to lift and you have to run, and that's so great. You have to move your body. It's so important. So,
Yeah. That definitely seemed like it prepared you for you're probably in the best shape of your life, honestly, during that time.
you know, I will say maybe, but I've gotten in better shape because I never used to lift weights as much that I do
Oh.
now. And my body is completely transformed since I've started lifting weights. So I highly recommend like lifting more. And this is the thing too, like girls listening, like whatever you are doing to prep for a pro team, like you will take that into after pro cheer and like just continuing to move your body and um be, even I still try to dance. Still try to do dance classes. Now I'm doing little Pilates stuff. It's just like important
Mhm.
to always prioritize moving your body. So I say I'm in the best shape of my life now because I'm I'm way more aware of what I put into my body, and
Mhm.
I'm way more into lifting. So
Yeah. Lifting definitely changes your body for the better. I love
yes,
lifting, and I'm trying to tell people that. So definitely make sure you lift weights. You can
yes,
start small. Don't
exactly.
hurt
You're gonna love
yourselves.
it. Yeah, exactly. Get a trainer.
Oh
Start off.
yeah,
If you're a
for
beginner.
sure. Yes. So when you auditioned, it seemed like you were like you moved to these places for your job for the military, right?
Correct.
Um, so when you auditioned, did you make each team on the first try?
I did.
You
Hmm.
did. Wow. What do you
Yes.
think, what do you think it was that you had that, helped you get there? Was it just dance experience, the experience, what do you think it was that basically brag on yourself? What did you do that to get you on the team?
My shining personality. No, it's
Probably, yeah.
just kidding. It's you have to have a story. I think
Hmm.
in nowadays girls think if I'm just a great dancer, I'll make the team, or if I'm beautiful, I'll make the team.
Hmm.
It's you have to be multi-talented to really stand out from the crowd. So you're not in like the, oh, she's good, but she to get to that like great and like I want her on the team, you have to be multi-talented and you have to have a really cool story. Um, I think me being in the military definitely is a PR opportunity for teams. I did a lot of ESPN specials. I did a lot of, when the flyovers were happening, everyone was like, this girl's in the Air Force too. Like, just people
Yeah.
love a good story. So how can you build up your story? And then of course it's just being like the well-rounded woman. Again, you're healthy, you're positive, you're a good teammate, you know how to speak and um you know how to be a good leader, but also you know how to be a good follower. Like that's just key. And then coaches are gonna love you. Like put yourself in your coach's seat. Like what do you want to see out of an athlete? You want someone who you know you can put on the field every time and they'll be consistent and they'll have a positive attitude and they're also going to give you an opportunity to bring positive attention to your team.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You're still dancing today, right? What kind of dance classes are you taking?
Not on a team, but yeah,
Dance
I've
classes, yeah.
I've taken some heels classes, I've taken some hip hop classes from like the Warriors dancers, like they put on some clinics and stuff. I want
Okay.
to get into shuffling. Have you ever been to an EDM concert?
No, but I've heard of them. I heard they're kind of crazy. I've also been to Coachella, and I think some of those people, or not some of those people, some of the artists there are EDM artists. So
Yes. It's like
yeah,
house music or
house
whatever.
music. Yeah,
Yeah, like that kind of
I
thing.
love house music now. Like Kate Renata,
So good.
such a big
Oh,
fan.
such a huge, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes. House is my jam too. So it's like shuffling is when you like move your feet. I don't know how to explain it, but like
Hmm.
it's like a EDM house dance. And I want to take a class in that. They have some classes in San Francisco. I got to take one with my friend. So yes, so fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We should.
So I love that you're like getting into different things and you put the emphasis on being a well-rounded woman. But I think, so I was going to ask this earlier. What if people, and you said people have to have a story and it's good to have a story. So it's for the girl that's like, I don't have a story. Like, what can I do to make me stand out? Like all I know is dance. Is it, like you said, being a great team member and just showing up in the best way you can if you feel like you don't have a story, or do you think everyone has a story? Like what would you say to that?
I'm gonna give it to you straight on this, Jasmine. I'm gonna give it to you
Please.
straight because I'm not a fluffer and I was in the military. I don't do the whole blanket, everyone's got a story. I genuinely believe you need to prepare and set yourself up to make an NFL cheerleading team.
Mm.
I think that means when you start thinking that you want to do this, you find a passion or you find something that you love and you look inward. You can't just say, I don't have a story, I'm going to show up, I'm just a good dancer. No, you have to integrate it into your life. And even if it's like I just started picking up surfing, or I just, I'm applying to grad schools, or, I just decided to travel to 10 countries, or I know I'm learning a new language or something. Like you have to, if you don't have that, it's just important for you to look within your, yes, so everybody has a passion and like everyone has that, but like are you actually taking action on that in your life instead of just
Mhm.
letting it be like, oh, I like to read or I like to go to the beach. Like that's not going to cut it nowadays. Like you
Mhm.
need to show them that you take action and you go after your goals, because that translates into being on a team. And they're trying to curate a group of girls that can add value to each other. And you just don't want to be the girl who's just like, I'm just kind of dancing. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't cut it anymore. When every team I've been on, like I've been on, as you know, it's like Olympians, professors, like, freaking just like 10-time national champ, like just like hot topic girls, like really, really high class. So you wanna bring something to the table. So figure out how you can do that. I think that's really important.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like people don't can't come up with a fun fact. It's like that you need to have something that's a fun fact and start thinking about that now. Like what makes you stand out that's different maybe from dance that you can bring to this team and that you can contribute, or a lot
Yes.
of teams, like you said earlier, like a lot of teams are looking for that PR opportunity. And sometimes the reason why you make a team, sometimes you'll never know why you make a team, but that could
Mhm.
be the reason. Like it's because you have a good story. They can use it. The team can leverage that for PR purposes. I think
Boom.
that's super important that a lot of people don't really talk about. So I appreciate you
It's
being real on that.
it's the truth, it's the world, and even when you're applying for a job, even if it's not cheer, it's like you're gonna want to bring that special factor. Um, I was gonna say one last thing. It's like it's a positive for you too. Again, it's
Yeah.
like it's a win-win, because if they're using you for PR, you can use that for your social media and everyone's winning personal brand, and then boom, it's just like it's a symbiotic relationship you want to,
Yeah.
win-win for both. This is a win-win for both. That's the
hmm
vibe.
And then just to like get into personal branding, how can somebody from a team like or that wants to be on a team build that personal brand before auditioning for a team? Is it what you just said, like getting into something, getting interested into something, or do you have any other tips on building a personal brand for an aspiring pro?
Yeah, first and foremost, make sure your social media is clean. That's
Mhm.
big. No drinking, nothing like that. I would really find other girls who have been on teams or who are currently on teams, and in a way, as you're beginning to understand your own personal brand, mirror kind of what they post and how they post. You know, I remember my team with the Niners, like somebody said something, they're like, nobody likes a girl that just has selfies all over her page, or like it's just all pictures of her and no friends, nothing else. Like
Yeah.
it's just her trying to be cute the whole time. It's like just you want to, again, the well-rounded experience and the classy, professional young woman on there, and an uplifting and positive person. So that's first and foremost, clean that up. Um, Second, for building your personal brand before you get on a team, um, you know, I do wish that I had explored like writing a book when I was in college. I feel like that's a really unique, even if it's an ebook or it's like a blog or it's something like you really are passionate about. If you're passionate about surfing, if you're passionate about cooking, like taking it to that next level of being a thought leader in that space, whether that's,
Mm.
again, creating a blog, having, an Instagram page dedicated to that. Maybe you go and speak to kids, or you volunteer, or just stuff like that. Whatever feels authentic to you. Like, don't do something that
Yeah.
doesn't feel authentic to you. I think that's the biggest thing with a personal brand. But yeah, even what you're doing, starting a podcast, like that's awesome. Like, even if you feel passionate about that, exploring that. Yeah. Um, I think that's probably the best thing I would say. But once you get on a team too, and then afterwards, it's just such a great resume builder and you can do so much with it. And that's why I've gotten into speaking. I get paid to travel and talk to high schools and colleges and conferences about being a female athlete, being an entrepreneur, my time in the NFL. Like your story really does start once you, not that it starts, but it adds such a cool gem when you can
Yeah.
say that. And I think, like I said, use that to build your personal brand and to help give back. You can start consulting. You can, there's a lot of cool things that you can do,
Yeah.
after that as well.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for women to know, like, if you do not make your team the first time, you can spend that year, and you obviously it's gonna hurt, it's gonna suck, not just not sugarcoating it. You practice all the time to make a team, but if you don't make the team, take a little minute to think about what you can do in between if you are trying to audition again the next year. You can do some of those things that you're talking about. You can pick up a new hobby. You can establish yourself as a thought leader. And that's something you can focus on in addition to, picking back up and training for your team. And you can say, this is what I did when you do that interview the next time. You can say, this is what I did in between. This is how I've grown as a person. I think that can go a long way for sure.
Definitely agreed. Absolutely.
So I've seen that you have a program called Seek and Set Free. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you tell us
Um,
about that?
yes. I actually just shut it down.
Oh,
Beginning of this year, January, yeah, beginning of January. But it was a women's retreat company. I started it over COVID, and the premise of the whole purpose of it was bringing women together, and not just for like I just feel like the normal of like women getting together, it's like someone's getting married, so we're going to a bachelorette party, so everyone has to come back together, or it's focused around like drinking. And I was just like, why can't we create a space that's like around travel and professional and personal development and bringing in guest speakers to talk to us about, building businesses or building just like a really positive environment. And yeah, I launched it in 2021, and I think that was just really coming. I actually had gone through a pretty tough breakup. So anyone out there who's gone through a breakup, you guys
I
get
did
it.
too in 2021.
Oh, brutal, man, brutal.
It's
But
tough.
this is what I'm telling you, all the girls listening. If you are going through one right now, choose to level up. That is the best everything. Like
Yes. Snaps.
choose to level up, start a business, buy a house, all of that, do all the things, um get in the best shape of your life. That is the best way to level up your life and just to turn it into love instead of just like more pain and all that BS, because
Yes.
not worth it. But yeah, so I started this community of women, and then it morphed into specifically retreats for NFL cheer teams, because I
Mhm.
saw you've probably been to a couple retreats for your team, right? You guys
Yeah.
like beginning a season,
Hmm.
go away for a weekend.
Yeah.
Um, did you enjoy it? Like, how was that experience for you?
There's a lot of great memories that have come from those experiences. But I think for our retreats, we never really went places that we like actually wanted to go. But when we got there, we had a great time. Like I think one time we stayed in Charlotte, and when you think about retreat, you think about like traveling and going. Maybe it was something to do with the budget or what, but we did make the best out of those situations, and I got to bond with I mean, obviously it's for team bonding, and you get to learn so much about the organization, especially if you're newer to the team and just your teammates in general and have that time together. So I loved it. We also went through like what your hair is going to look like, what's your makeup look for the season. So it was kind of like a lot of things meshed into one, and it was a lot of fun and great memories,
Yes.
like I said.
I love that. I love that. Yes. And
Yeah.
that is like, it is a special experience. Like it really is. For anyone who goes on retreat, it's a little nerve-wracking. You're like, oh, everyone's meeting each other for the first time because it's always a new
Mhm.
team. And so my proposal to the coaches, I did it with Falcons, Niners, and Vikings. And my proposal was we will take that planning away from you, kind of like a wedding planner, but we're like a retreat planner. And because
Yeah.
we're younger and like we've pretty much been in your like I've been an NFL cheerleader. I knew that like this is kind of the experience that we want. And we really dove deep. We had a lot of meditation opportunities. We had unique team bonding things instead of just like bowling or like, kind of stuff that's like out of date team bonding stuff. Like we just
Yeah,
really we did like with the Vikings. Oh my gosh, we did. Oh, I'm blanking, but okay. Niners, we did like a beach day, which was super fun. We did for Falcons, we've done aerial yoga, we've did
that's fun.
we brought them to the Hall of Fame and like had NFL former NFL players come and teach them flag football and like they played against each other and we did just some really fun, unique stuff that like was like out of the box, but then we really brought it back into like getting to know yourself deeper, a lot of
Hmm.
confidence, just like modern team bonding, and it was such a blast. It
Yeah.
was so fun to do that and and see the other teams, like meeting the Vikings girls. It was so cool to be up there and see their facilities and like
Right.
just really like it was just a really cool experience. But it's just when you're trying to run two companies, it's a little bit, you have to know your limits. You have to know
Yeah.
your limits. Um, and
We
I,
all know you can do everything, so
girl, I
so
was like, I just don't know. I'm 30 now, I just don't have the
yeah.
energy anymore. But I think it really does come down to like these teams are doing a great job with that. And this is just a business thing. It's like sometimes you don't have to force yourself into a situation like to make
Hmm.
something out of like it's not out of nothing, but it's like it was a great bonus thing for these teams, but like there's so much more that they're focusing on. So I just learned a
Yeah.
lot about that business. I just
Mhm.
think that it was fun, but it's not something that's going to like be that revenue driving thing. It's that would be that feels more nonprofit vibe for me. And
Mhm.
my clothing brand is more of like I need to focus on this to like get it to the revenue that I
Yeah.
can get to. So
Do you think it'll come back at some point? I know
I
you just said you shut it down, but
I know. I just maybe because I was on Falcons, like maybe I'll do like Falcons again,
yeah.
maybe, but
Mhm.
it's planning. I don't know. You also learn when you're an entrepreneur like what your strengths are. And like my strengths is like fashion, product, and like sales and like that side of things.
Mhm.
Planning is like not my favorite thing to do. I'm like, I just
Yeah.
don't. It's fun when it
A
actually
lot.
comes to life, but like the planning part is just like
Mhm.
so yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Cool.
cool. Yes.
I lastly want to talk about a little bit about M&A and your like deals and closing. You had mentioned in an interview that you didn't really think about entrepreneurship and business until you moved to California, and that made you interested in it. I'm sure you know the environment there. What was the best thing that you learned about business so far? And also, with all your businesses, how can listeners find your products?
Yeah. Oh man, business, it is like the most, it's like professional cheerleading on steroids. It's like military life on steroids, especially if you're a solopreneur and you're running your own business. I mean, you have to be so focused, so creative, such a collaborator. Um, very just again, like jack of all trades a little bit, good with marketing, good with finances, good with operations. You're kind of like doing a million things at once. I think the best thing that it's taught me is to take risk and to go for it, like an experiment. Because in life, I think sometimes people don't allow themselves to fail, maybe just kind of like trying out for a team, right? It's like take that risk, go for it, and just see where you land. Prepare yourself, obviously. Like with business, you can't just make stupid decisions and just say, whatever, we're gonna try that. Make calculated decisions, but like take the risk and believe in yourself and go for it. And I think that's the best thing that it's taught me. And every time I go for it, it always rewards me.
Yeah,
So
I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. You can find Torch at Instagram's probably the best because you can find a website on there and everything, but at Torch Warrior Wear. And then my personal is at I am Haley Marie. And yeah, I actually have two books out as well on Amazon. You guys can find those. Light the Torch. And then my other book is Your Itty Bitty Guide to the NFL Cheerleading World. And it's a book on how to make an NFL cheerleading team. So, uh,
Hmm.
yeah, the Light the Torch is all about how to build a clothing brand. So, yeah,
Awesome. I love that. And you're doing so many amazing things, and I'm just so inspired by you. So, yes, everybody go get her book, go to her websites and buy her products. I have seen on your personal Instagram that you started doing these, are they like day there was like it was like a series. I can't remember the name of it. I should have wrote it down. But
oh, yeah, like the little coaching,
personal
like a little hot seat coaching thing or something. Or,
no, I think it was more so like a personal tips or something like
oh,
for
Haley
everyday life.
Hacks, maybe.
Yes, Haley hacks. I
Yes.
love that. And I love like you can it's like a carousel you can kind of swipe and yeah, I've been reading a couple of those. Really great tips that I'll take too. But so
Awesome. Glad I can help.
we're gonna get into some rapid fire questions before we end this.
Cool.
And I'm just gonna throw out something and you'll just react to it as quick as possible. I mean, some look, every time we do these, people end up elaborating. Feel free to elaborate on whatever you want, that's the fun of it. It just goes however you want it to go, okay?
I love it. Yes.
Okay, first question. Your dream collaboration for Torch.
Hoka.
Ooh, nice.
Military boots, but like Hoka, like comfortability.
Love that.
Yeah.
I see those shoes everywhere.
They're so good. I know. They're awesome.
Most famous person in your phone.
Oh. Um, oh gosh. Dansby Swanson. He is a former NB and oh gosh, what's the MLB player? Yes.
Wow.
Or still is in the MLB or something. He knew the Penn State football coach and had to pick him up from the airport one time, and I had to get his number for that way. That's literally the only thing, but
That's so cool. I love that story. What is your favorite style of dance?
Ooh. Heels, I guess. No,
Mm,
I like pro dance. I like pro dance cheer style. Really.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I
Can
do.
never go wrong with that.
Yeah.
What is your go-to dance move?
Ooh, shimmy.
Yes, I love that. Your favorite dance music video?
Oh, I don't do music videos. I don't watch them.
Really? I don't either as much, but from the TRL days. But
Oh, okay. I mean, I never even watched TRL. Um,
what?
what's the, is it too late now to say sorry?
Oh, yes, with Paris Goebel.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Her choreo
So
is
good.
fire.
So good.
It's
Yeah.
so good always. I'm like, this is genius level. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
music video.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite performer?
Man. Um, you know who I saw in concert who was fire? Jaden.
Really? Hmm.
I know. Would have never expected that, but he was fire.
Does he still do music or is he acting now?
I think he does little acting, but like I
Yeah,
saw him with,
interesting.
his song,
Classic Man.
Classic Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he has other music that's way better.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I feel like you never really dive into those one hit. Well, I don't want to call him a one hit wonder, but
Yeah.
that's the main song, and I think he has another song that I know. But yeah, I have to look
Yeah.
into his stuff because his stuff that he puts out is good.
It's really good and he's cute.
Yeah, he is. Tell us something that we don't know about you.
One thing you don't know about me is that I have a little sister who just got married last weekend.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. It's so fun.
What what is your favorite makeup product that you're using right now?
I don't do makeup ever. So chapstick
Wow.
girl.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yep.
Is there a reason why you don't? Or you just don't feel like you need it? You don't.
I just am really embracing the like beach life. It's like you roll out and you go. I mean, I'll just do a little mascara and something here, but like I don't care. It's like CVS brand and like I don't
Yeah.
unless I'm getting full glam, like and I have my makeup girl who does that. I don't
Hmm.
wear makeup. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I feel like that's kind of like what Alicia Keys is doing. She doesn't wear makeup anymore or something that she's doing right now.
Yes. Very Alicia Keys, very show up and just do it.
Do you have an embarrassing moment that you've ever had in dance or either in practice or on a stage?
Ooh. Definitely cheer practice, I'll say, when I was in high school, was learning my back tuck and I just balked in the middle of it and fell right on my neck. And I was fine, but I was very embarrassed and I got kicked out of the gym and I'll just never forget that. I'll just never forget that.
Oh gosh, you got kicked out.
I just got kicked
Oh,
out. My gymnastics teacher, she was so brutal. I'm like, damn.
dang.
It's
I hope they
okay.
helped you.
Not at all. She just told me to go. She's like, just get out.
Wow, goodness gracious. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Well, you were okay.
Right.
But you're okay now.
Right. It was on a spring floor, so that's probably why I'm okay.
What was the last song you listened to that you can remember?
Um, I'm really big into Petite Biscuit. Do you know who Petite Biscuit is?
I
It's
might
like
be
a
listening.
soft house. Petite Biscuit
I love
and
House. I like House.
yes, he's just like very calm vibe. So not a specific song I would say, but oh, You by Petite Biscuit. Let's just say You.
Okay.
Yeah,
Look that one up.
he's calm.
What is your guilty pleasure?
Cinnamon rolls.
Mm, yum. Your favorite artist right now and of all time?
Favorite artist now is oh, I don't know. I'm all over the place with this type of stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
I
okay.
do love Drake. I'm not gonna lie.
It's all right. I like Drake too. As an
Probably
artist.
right. I'm like he's really I feel like it goes back to like my college days and all that. I love Drake forever, I feel like. And then oh, good vibes. I've been really just diversifying a lot lately, I feel
Hmm.
like. Um, oh, I really don't know. I like Goldford. Oh, Snow Allegra's good too.
Oh, Allegra, yeah.
She's a vibe. Yeah, man. I'm kind of all over the place.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. And then the last thing is what is one piece of an audition advice that you would give to somebody that wants to be on a pro team?
Walk in there in the best physical, mental, and emotional state. And everything else will fall into place. And know that they would be lucky to have you.
So that's a great way to end this podcast. And I want to thank you so much for coming on to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast and just sharing your story and all the things you have going on. I'm sure it's just so inspiring to so many other people. So thank you so much, Haley.
Thank you, Jasmine. It's been such a pleasure. You're amazing. Thank you for creating this space for us. I had a blast.
Of course. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Taking the time to listen while you're busy with all of life's responsibilities means the world to me. If you enjoyed this episode, here are a few ways you can support ICP. Number 1, hit the subscribe button so you always get newly released episodes and never miss them. Number 2, take a screenshot of the episode you listened to and tag at the professional cheerleader on Instagram. We love to repost your tags and shout you out in our stories. Number 3, write a review. This is the best way to show your support for the podcast and helps us bring on even better guests, interviews, and topics. I hope you have a wonderful day, morning, or night, wherever you may be, and are continuing to work towards your goals of becoming a professional cheerleader, dancer, or just someone who loves to move. I'll see you later on another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Remember, stay frosty, friends. Toodles for now.